Good morning. Thank you for joining us for today's Atlas webinar. My name is Tara Duncan and I'm the chair of Atlas. Apologies that I can't be with you in person right now, but I hope you join me in looking forward to today's webinar. Atlas is a global association, the Association for Tourism and Leisure Education and Research. We have chapters in a number of areas: Europe, Africa, Asia, Oceania and Latin America, and a number of special interest groups. This year, 2021, is our 30th anniversary. And we are very proud today to be hosting for the second year the University of Pretoria's postgraduate honours students and their UPCT, University of Pretoria campus tours, specifically focused around mental health, the new wealth in social prescribing tourism. So I hope you join me in looking forward to today's webinar and welcoming the students. I know it'll be a fantastic webinar and I hope you enjoy it, and I hope we'll be able to see each other at an event in real life very soon. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Good morning to everyone. Good morning, Ms. Leontine Onderwater, Ms. Jantine Feltman, as well as all the other Atlas members and everyone across the globe joining us this morning. My name is Kate. I am one of the 9 postgraduate honours students at the University of Pretoria presenting to you today. The University of Pretoria Campus Tours, also known as UPCT, is extremely excited to share with you today what we've been working on this year. Therefore, without further ado, I would like to pass you over to my colleague Kuniso, who will be introducing you to the team.
Hello, everybody. My name is Kuniso, or you can call me Q. I'm delighted to introduce to you the 2021 UPCT team. From the left, we have Sarah, Kitso, Kate, myself, Q, and Amika, Matitiso, Nina, Annalise, and Michelle.
The 2021 theme for the year for our honours studies was Mental Health, the New Wealth in Social Prescribing Tourism. As you know, mental health is not a new concern. However, under the COVID-19 pandemic, it has only become more apparent. The concept itself includes social and emotional, as well as psychological well-being. It affects how we think, feel, act in our day-to-day lives, while also assisting in determining how we as people handle our stress, as well as relate to others and make decisions. It has been proven that mental health is important in every stage of our life, from early childhood and adolescence to our adulthood. In the context of the pandemic, the impact has impacted many spheres of our lives. My team and I will be presenting to you today on this concept known as social prescribing. In particular, we will be focusing on how we use social prescribing as a way to combat the increase of the mental illness and stress that has resulted in the COVID-19 pandemic and its ongoing after effects. To give you some context, the University of Pretoria is located within the city Pretoria. It's a capital city of South Africa. It is situated in the northeast of South Africa. Pretoria is not only a political capital of South Africa, but it also holds a reputation of being an education and academic city. This is due to the fact that it houses our university, the University of Pretoria, as well as numerous other academic facilities, including various other research top-rate schools. The University of Pretoria was founded in 1908 with 4 professors, 3 lecturers, and 32 students at its initial site, Kairosa, a Victorian house in central Pretoria. My colleague, Michelle, will then tell you a little bit more about the faculties at our university.
Thank you very much, Kate. So the University of Pretoria is one of the largest and most successful universities in South Africa. And in fact, in 2020, it was ranked first in the field of research and overall second in South Africa. It's also ranked in the top 500 globally. So with as many as 9 faculties, UP is rapidly evolving, spanning the fields and creating new fields of study. One could say that one should say that we are home to many bests and firsts in Africa. This includes the Institution of Business Sciences and the South Africa's very first and only Faculty of Veterinary Sciences. The university also comprises of 1,200 programs and 120 departments across all faculties, which are globally and locally significant, ranging from economic and management sciences to veterinary sciences, which you can all see on the screen. Now, the Faculty of Humanities houses the Department of Historical and Heritage Studies, where the degree of Heritage and Cultural Tourism is located. This comprises of both theoretical and practical components, which provides students the opportunity and understanding of the in-discipline of tourism as an academic field, as well as the experimentational and stimulating learning for the running of a tourist guiding agency as the honor students by UPCT, or which is known as UPCT. The UPCT is thus a unique student-run entity that forms part of the practical component of the post-honors degree in Heritage and Cultural Tourism. It gives students the opportunity to gain real-life skills and experiences by running every aspect of the business. And this is obviously now including your management, marketing, finances, administration, events coordination, and public relations, with a long more. We will also elaborate on the skills later on, which my colleague will be presenting. But to continue, the students who run UPCT are ambassadors of the university. They act as tourist guide and for a range of guests who include your prospective students and their parents, the foreign dignitaries, visiting academics, schools, and even the broader public. So now the question stands, what UPCT really is. The UPCT is a student-driven venture located on the Hatfield campus, which is actually our main campus. And here, many tours take place. As some of you might recall, UPCT had collaborations with Atlas in the past. And last year, we established that we give interactive virtual tours to everyone across all our campuses for the public and employees in a professional, entertaining, and educational manner. So this year we did continue giving these tours and presenting them virtual interactive tours, as well as bubble tours, which contain about in small groups of 4, complying with social distancing and other COVID-19 regulations. We also did focus on social prescribing, which is our main focus of this year. So therefore, we did continue to showcase the university's rich heritage, its culture, its beautiful gardens, and even its collections. This has all been achieved under the leadership of Professor Karen Harris, the founder of UPCT and head of the Department of the Historical and Heritage Studies, as well as with the support of Mr. Dion Harris, the CEO of Enterprises at UP. So with this said, we did continue with offering the interactive tours and bubble tours and place greater emphasis on actually bringing up mental health, inspiring people to go out and visit new places. And as the South African public and society has been on its verge of mental health decreasing. And I could say this for globally as well. So the idea here was to offer both virtual and in-person tours to guests to enhance their well-being and health through the social environment, as well as environmental tourism experience in a safe and environmentally friendly environment. I will now hand over to my colleague Kitsa, who will furthermore explain about the skills gained in this degree.
Good day all. It is my pleasure to meet you on the other side of the screen. Now, the skills we have gained are broken down into hard skills and soft skills. So these have been necessary developments for us to be successful in our internship and conquer the world of work. These acquired skills have been progressive and they really have stood us in good stead throughout the persistence of the global pandemic in 2021. Consequently, my team and I are better able to strike a balance between client engagement through social prescribing methods and maintaining our mental wellness ethos. It is noteworthy to highlight that we have been thoroughly equipped to thrive in the fourth industrial revolution, where change and transformation, might I add, are the only predictable forces. Now, the most outstanding skill that we have learned thus far is the ability to think on our feet, make a plan, be upbeat, and be innovative at all times. Established in 2002, UP Campus Tours continues to deliver a proud record of professional services across campus that my teammates will expand on later in the presentation. Each year, a group of newly graduated students take upon the challenge of running and managing this income-generating business through offering tours of the Hatfield campus. Whilst the venture forms a large component of our practical degree, it also promotes the university to prospective students, visiting academics, clients from the enterprises, as well as international delegates. Now, over the past 19 years, UPCT has grown to become an excellent business simulation exercise for us, the heritage and cultural tourism honors students. As Michelle mentioned earlier, in the previous year, UPCT presented an Atlas webinar where the 2020 students outlined the impact of COVID-19 and how it really became a catalyst for its members to become both creative and innovative, and under the guidance and mentoring of Professor Harris, this resulted in the formation of the University of Pretoria Virtual Campus Tours, also known as UPVCT Interactive. The team also showcased the various initiatives on how they were able to continue with personalized interactive tours on a virtual platform for prospective students across the country. So this included tours for prospective students who in the safety of their own homes could go on a virtual tour with a UPVCT guide, as we see there on our top right corner of the screen. Now, the prospective students would ask the UPVCT guide real questions about their customers' tours, and the guide would respond with measured accordance. Now, later under lockdown level 1, UPVCT as well as UPCT was granted UP executive permission to take upon bubble tours. Now, bubble tours, you may wonder. Now, this is when tours are conducted for families of 4 alongside a UP campus tour guide whilst adhering to COVID-19 regulations. Thus, in 2020, UPCT celebrated the year of the mask, and they devised new strategies that would keep UP campus tours active while simultaneously remaining a strong business entity and allowing our students to gain a hands-on experience. Like any other tourism business, the adverse effects of COVID-19 have continued to affect us negatively in 2021. However, this has encouraged us, the 2021 team, to take the baton and run with it. The baton of creativity and innovation, might I add, as given by the 2020 team. Now, this means that we have continued to pursue the goal of creating new tour offerings that are really sustainable and relevant to the spherical shifts that the global pandemic has imposed on the tourism industry. Now, the most exciting news about these tours that we offer in 2021 is that they encourage mental well-being and stimulation, as the global pandemic has caused many to become somewhat brain-dead. I will now be handing over to Nina.
Thank you so much. As we are well aware, the COVID-19 pandemic has led to a dramatic loss of human life worldwide and presents an unprecedented challenge to public health, food systems, as well as the world of work. The economic and social disruption caused by the pandemic has been and remains devastating. It is estimated that nearly half of the world's 3.3 billion global workforce are at risk of losing their livelihoods. Informal workers, including some of the tourist guides, are particularly vulnerable because the majority lack social protection and access to quality healthcare and have lost access to productive assets. Across the globe, it became apparent how the COVID-19 pandemic increased demand for mental health services. Mourning, isolation, loss of income, and fear triggered mental health issues, which often also exasperated existing ones. Many people faced increased levels of alcohol and drug abuse, insomnia, and anxiety. Meanwhile, COVID-19 itself led to many people suffering from neurological and mental complications, such as delirium, agitation, and strokes. Research shows that people with pre-existing mental, neurological, or substance abuse disorders were also more vulnerable to the COVID-19 infection, that they stood a higher risk of severe outcomes and even death. All of these conditions had serious impacts on a society at large. According to Dr. Tedros of the World Health Organization, good mental health is absolutely fundamental to overall health and well-being. He claimed that COVID-19 had interrupted essential mental health services around the world just when they were needed the most. He called upon world leaders to move fast and decisively to invest more in life-saving mental health programs during the pandemic and beyond. As we know, globally, the tourism industry was one of the hardest hit. Many had hoped that things would only get better in 2021, but it turns out the situation went from bad to worse when looking at international tourist arrivals in the first 5 months of the year. Having dropped by more than 1 billion visitors, or 73% in 2020, international tourist arrivals declined by 85% between January and May 2021, when compared to the same period of 2019. According to UNWTO, tourism destinations around the world recorded 460 million fewer international arrivals in the first 5 months compared to 2019. Even compared to 2020, when COVID-19's crippling effect on their international travel became apparent in March, arrivals declined by 65% as travel restrictions remained in place in large places of the world. As the following chart shows, Asia Pacific, where travel restrictions have been particularly strict, have suffered the largest drop in international tourist arrivals. This year at minus 95%. At the other end of the spectrum, the Americans have seen the smallest relative decline compared to 2019 at minus 72%. UNWTO Secretary General Zarab said in a statement, accelerating the pace of vaccination worldwide, working on effective coordination and communication on ever-changing travel restrictions, while advancing digital tools to facilitate mobility, will be critical to rebuild trust in travel and restart tourism. And while international tourism began picking up in May, and some travel restrictions were lifted over the Northern Hemisphere summer season, the emergence of the Delta variant clouded the outlook for the remainder of 2021.
Due to the devastating effects of COVID-19 on the South African economy, many measures were put in place to alleviate financial pressure from the South African citizens. Now, these measures included COVID-19 Relief Fund, which granted those who were financially affected by COVID-19 some alleviated pressure. Now, through this grant, South African citizens were able to receive some financial aid from the government. Now, COVID-19 also affected our education system as well in South Africa. Many schools and tertiary institutions were forced to move online. Now, this instant shift from contact classes to online classes drastically put pressure on the country's education system, with many students needing internet access from home and many students needing laptops and mobile devices. The academic year was truly put under strain with the various setbacks.
As with this, the rest of the world, our home, South Africa, was severely affected by the COVID-19 pandemic. According to the Tourism 2020 report released by Statistics South Africa, foreign arrivals dropped by 71% from just over 15.8 million in 2019 to less than 5 million in 2020. It is evident that the COVID-19 pandemic impacted the tourism industry quite hard around the world and in South Africa, mainly due to the lockdown and travel restrictions that were imposed. According to the report, the overall number of travelers, arrivals, and departures decreased by 71% between 2019 and 2020.
According to the World Health Organization Europe, the COVID-19 pandemic has affected the mental health of people from various groups. This includes both the elderly and the youth with underlying conditions. The pandemic has had a negative psychological impact. including elevated stress and anxiety. In particular, the negative effects of quarantine and self-isolation have caused the following to be on the rise. They include depression, loneliness, self-harm, substance abuse, and suicidal behavior. Hence, the mental health of the public service and frontline workers has also been impacted. This is due to the exposures to patients affected and the deaths pertaining to the diseases. A survey conducted by the Kaiser Family Foundation in the USA, recorded from December 2020, portrayed the findings of how the pandemic caused an increase in anxiety, depression, sleep deprivation, and suicidal thoughts for many young adults. This evidence is displayed in this paragraph on the screen. A number of COVID-related consequences, such as the closing of universities, working from home, and unemployment, were some of the elements contributing to a decline in poor mental health. A large portion of the young adults or the youth from all ages have reported symptoms of anxiety and/or depression. As we can see on the graph, the survey recorded 56% of young adults severely impacted, compared to 29.3% of the older adults. COVID-19 has indeed had a tremendous impact on people's mental health. For many, the transition from how things were to how they are now has been quite difficult. This illustrative graph from Statista shows in the USA a survey conducted on how people's mental health was before, during, and after the pandemic. The yellow bar in each graph illustrates the time from January to June 2019. The red bar showing May 2020, and the last bar, which is in purple, showing December 2020. From this graph, one can deduce that anxiety and depressive rates before COVID were definitely lower than during and after COVID. Turning to South Africa. This graph shows the different emotional conditions South Africans were experiencing during the start of the COVID-19 pandemic last year. Daily Maverick, which is a source, shows a different state of mind from the South African perspective. The orange bars portray the time of April and May 2020. The green bars show the month of July 2020. The dominant emotions South Africans felt included feeling stressed, scared, frustrated, depressed, sad, and angry.
Before we focus specifically on tourism and social prescribing, the focus of this webinar, we need to take a brief step back and consider tourism and its relation with health in a broader sense. There are many examples of travel occurring in the BCE for commercial or religious reasons, though at the time they were not categorized as tourism. In the CE, the European aristocrat is often credited as one of the first explicit examples of travel as tourists. The wealthy often traveled as a form of escapism from their daily lives to partake in relaxation activities like spas and seaside resorts. However, it was not until the latter half of the 1900s that tourism as a commercialized activity began to gain traction. As tourism gained popularity, more niches were discovered and categorized. It was at this point that the escapism and/or religious spiritual travel was finally recognized and categorized as a form of health tourism. Thus, travel undertaken for the sake of mental recuperation or spiritual well-being can be categorized under the umbrella term of health tourism. Let's delve further into the meaning of health tourism and how it contributes to well-being. As mentioned before, health tourism is an umbrella term, and it includes the subgroups wellness tourism and medical tourism. Wellness tourism focuses on improving and balancing the main spheres of human life. These spheres include the following: physical, mental, emotional, occupational, intellectual, and spiritual. A wellness tourist would embark on this journey to engage in preventative, proactive, and lifestyle-enhancing activities that target the development of the previously mentioned spheres. The types of activities that wellness tourists could participate in include fitness, healthy eating, relaxation, pampering, and medical treatments. Medical tourism, on the other hand, is any tourism that involves travel with the express purpose of seeking evidence-based medical treatment and services. This practice is often carried out by tourists who are patients that are seeking specialized medical treatment and their best opportunities to travel elsewhere in search of this medical treatment.
The services that are associated with this type of tourism is diagnosis, treatment, cure, prevention, and rehabilitation. What is social prescribing? The term may sound confusing to first-time listeners. However, if the two words that make up the term are explored individually, its meaning becomes clear. It is the prescription of social interaction and activities by healthcare workers with the aim of improving overall well-being in patients. In a sense, social prescribing relates to both elements of health tourism. The idea is that patients would be advised to participate in some form of social activity that would be beneficial to their well-being, similar to how medicine is prescribed to treat an ailment. This was the first recognized format that social prescribing took. However, if one looks back, there are multiple examples scattered throughout history of people seeking enlightenment and tranquility, which promotes health of the mind, emotions, and spirits. Now, social prescribing is not only issued by healthcare workers, but can also be implemented by and for other sectors. Some of these sectors include institutions of learning, businesses, and retirement homes. These sectors are often stressful or isolating environments that can have a negative impact on well-being. Majority of the seminal research in social prescribing originates from the UK. As mentioned before, social prescribing is aimed at counteracting the negative impacts on well-being. To achieve this goal, social prescribing initiatives need to be implemented. Initiatives can include participating in various social activities such as volunteering, arts, group activities, gardening, cooking, baking, healthy eating, meditation, exercise, and sports. The basic implementation of this is the social prescription issued by doctors to patients whose well-being has been compromised either mentally, emotionally, spiritually, occupationally, intellectually, or even physically. The same initiatives can be applied by the other sectors who have recognized a decline in the morale and well-being of their community. The aim is to promote holistic well-being by having people take active control of their own health. The people who benefit from social prescribing are people who suffer from short or long-term mental health problems, people with complex needs, people who are socially isolated, and people with long-term conditions. The outcome of social prescribing is the overall improvement of well-being. There have been cases, particularly from research conducted in the UK, that have noted various changes in individuals who have received social prescribing. Some of the benefits identified are an improved emotional and mental well-being, lower levels of depression and anxiety, a higher sense of independence, feeling less isolated, and more physically active. The benefits indicate that social prescribing is indeed an effective method of improving the holistic well-being of a person. The outcome of social prescribing has had an effect on another layer of the healthcare system. In the UK, a study was conducted that suggests social prescribing has the potential to lower the number of inpatient stays, accidents, and emergency patients in hospitals. This is attributed to the idea that people who have received social prescribing are more aware of their well-being and take active measures to balance and improve their health.
Now, I'll be discussing Glam. Now, another concept that is of relevance to social prescribing and is pertinent to the activities of UPCT, and this discussion is Glam. Glam, in the context of Oxford University, speaks about gardens, libraries, and museums, and the Glam is actually a method of social prescribing adapted from the University of Oxford. Glam, in the context of UPCT, is an acronym for galleries, gardens, libraries, archives, museums, and museums. UPCT expanded on this model by incorporating galleries and gardens, as they are an integral part of what UPCT offers to the University of Pretoria. Now, as we move on to the mechanisms used in Glam, we can start off with knowledge and skill acquisition. Learning is a key element of many of the Glam activities. It features prominently a key factor in the improvement of health and well-being. Through the knowledge and skill acquisitions, participants of Glam gain a sense of empowerment and independence. Learning new skills and having access to knowledge is considered empowering, which leads to personal and career development. Participants of Glam can also acquire knowledge and skills from activities conducted in gardens, galleries, libraries, archives, and museums. Now, if we move on to the second mechanism, the structure and a sense of purpose, activities in Glam, such as visiting gardens, gardening, and visiting libraries can offer structure, routine, and purpose. Now, the structure and routine is important for those who may suffer from depression. If we move on to relaxing and comforting environments, Glam spaces can be seen as environments of enjoyment, relaxation, and comfort. Gardens can offer an escape from the stresses associated with urban life and can often be seen as a source of pleasure. Libraries, for example, are perceived to be calm and quiet places away from the stresses of the outside world. Memory, repetition, and reminiscence is another mechanism. Glam, through its activities, has also been studied and proven to help those with dementia and living in care homes. Glam activities often encourage repetition and reminiscence, and this may be seen to particularly be therapeutic. Object handling can help trigger memories and encourage participants to reminisce about life in the past. Social connection. Glam offers activities that allow its participants to socialize and engage in activities with others. Through the social connections and activities, Glam can help improve relationships with people who are socially marginalized or isolated. Socially marginalized people can often feel like they are giving back to others and the environment through volunteering in social activities, which ultimately enables them to learn new skills. Now, you may ask how UPC links to Glam. Well, UPCT plays an important role in Glam. UPCT enables individuals to participate in activities that involve elements of Glam through booking tours with us. Now, UPCT offers a way for people to interact with UP by giving its clients tours of the University of Pretoria. We have also made a direct link between COVID-19, isolation, depression, and tourism.
In 2021, UPCT used social prescribing to enhance well-being through the various types of tours, such as virtual interactive tours as mentioned, bubble tours, and then open-air tours, as a way to allow participants to be surrounded by beautiful images, gardens, history, and spiritually enriched experiences. We aim to benefit our guests positively by improving their physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual well-being. By continuing to provide positive experiences on the campus, either walking, virtually or in person, learning and interacting with us as tourist guides. This is all while the country went through various forms of lockdown and resulted in a surge of requests for tours as the lockdowns were slowly lifted. My colleague, Machadiso, will go further into the various types of tours that we offer.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Matsiriso, but I go by the name of Tiri. And throughout 2021, we have offered experiences such as general tours of the campus and faculties, interactive tours via an online platform that were based on various prominent days globally and nationally, Alatour tours, bubble tours, Glam specific tours, and our corporate game tax race. Our general campus tours are tours in which we offer a historical overview of faculty buildings and our campus in general. The general campus tour also includes the sculpture, garden, and other routes, and they are offered from Monday to Saturday and on Sunday, depending on the availability of guides. And as part of social prescribing, we also proudly presented the International Museum Day Imd on the 18th of May 2021 in collaboration with UP Museums, and offered 5 virtual tours as a visual taster of what the UP Museums have to offer. This included the ceramic collection, the Van Tilburg collection, the Mabungu Beer Gold collection, and a selection of artworks and sculptures. The 5 sessions attracted over 100 guests from the world, and The public, staff, students, and alumni were targeted. And each year since 1977, the International Council of Museums, ICOM, has organized the International Museums Day. And the event highlights a specific theme reflecting on relevant issues facing museums globally or internationally. And the theme for this year was the future of museums, recover and reimagine. The objective of IMD is to raise awareness and to show that museums are important means of cultural exchange and enrichment of cultures and development of mutual understanding, cooperation, and peace among people. In July, Nelson Mandela Day is a day celebrated across the world in honor of Nelson Rolihlahla Mandela, and it was officially declared as an international day by the United Nations in November of 2009. Globally, the custom is that you need to dedicate 67 minutes of your time to commemorate the 67 years he spent, the 67 years he dedicated to South Africa. We also presented a free tour of 67 slides in 67 minutes, taking guests on a virtual tour showcasing our beautiful campus.
Another project which UPCT 2021 presented was the Women's Day Interactive Tour. August is celebrated as Women's Month in South Africa. Here we celebrate the achievements of women. Hence, this virtual tour celebrated key women, including students and staff who had been at UP over the past 113 years. This was a popular event, and amongst those who attended were current women employed and studying at UP. This initiative was successful, and it proved to be uplifting for the phenomenal women across the University of Pretoria and also served as an aspiration for many. Therefore, this aligned well with UPCT 2021's social prescribing mandate.
September is Heritage Month, so another virtual tour was conducted. This national holiday is in honor of the cultural wealth of South Africa. It is a day to celebrate and to remember the many cultures that make up South Africa's rainbow nation. On the 22nd of September, the South African Heritage Resource Agency collaborated with the Department of Historical and Heritage Studies to host a seminar celebrating Heritage Month. UPCT had the honor of celebrating this day at the seminar, where they presented a brief overview of the rich heritage and culture of the University of Pretoria that spans over 100 years. As mentioned in UPCT 2021, embraced the idea of Glam and presented tours that promoted the idea of social prescribing by getting staff, students, and the public to participate either virtually or in person in tours that elated our gardens, galleries, and museums. UP boasts the Mali van der Skype Botanical Garden, which was started back in 1924 and has approximately 3,000 plant species in a collection that covers over 3.5 hectares. The primary aim of the garden is to raise awareness of South Africa's indigenous flora through the acquisition and dissemination of botanical knowledge. Glam Gardens is UPCT giving informative tours of these botanical gardens. They are a tranquil space that offer enlightenment and a place of peace for tourist guests, offering them fresh air and the beauty, as well as the information on a wide range of species. Yet another tour that complies with the requirement of social prescribing that we offered as a tour is the Alatour. For those who may not be aware, an aloe is a cactus-like plant that grows in hot, dry climates and is indigenous to South Africa. Both physical and virtual tours of the aloes were offered with guests enjoying the tours of the vibrant colors and fascinating variety. The University of Pretoria has a large sculpture collection on public display. The UP Museums devised a sculpture route which includes over 28 sculptures by South African artists, which UPCT offers as a specialized tour. In accordance with social prescribing and the UP Glam initiative, the sculptural route takes tourists on an open-air brisk walk across campus to admire these works of art, each of a story to entertain and inform the guests. For example, if you look at the picture in the middle, this piece is called The Conversation. It is about an Italian artist whose wife was Greek and they both could not speak English. So this piece represents them embracing them in a loving manner and them having love as the only means of communication. This is just the kind of information we would share with our guests that complies with the social prescribing that takes guests' minds off their issues. University of Pretoria museums manage, conserve, and curate a diversity of museum collections and associated archives that are held at various university locations. Key collections are publicly displayed in 2 historical buildings on our Hatfield campus. These university museum collections are iconic since they are unique and valuable, consisting of a vast art collection, ceramics from Southern Africa, as well as signature ceramics from around the world. Included in these collections is the iconic Mapankupwe collection, a declared national treasure of South Africa.
Another initiative taken by UPCT 2021 was the creation of a corporate game which aligned with social prescribing. As the pandemic began to subside and vaccinations increased, the university needed to start getting people to return back to campus. After almost a year and a half of a closed campus, many people were fearsome of going back, but others were just not keen on the idea. UPCT rolled out its first Tax to Race, aka scavenger hunt, which was a resounding success. This aim of the game was to get UP staff in their various departments and divisions out of their homes or offices and into the fresh air back on campus, while having fun and exercising together. It was also billed as a team building experience for people to socialize after being isolated and separated from each other for so long. The race crisscrosses the Hatfield campus, taking participants to places you might never have known about. In a sense, this is like a tour in a different format. This has also encouraged staff members to book tours around our campus. At each designated spot, a clue and a riddle is found, leading to the next stop. At the stop, there are group selfie photo activities that need to be completed, and a tile needs to be collected for a word scramble, which is built at the end of the game. All of this takes place while adhering strictly to COVID-19 regulations and social distancing, with mask wearing as mandatory. There are exciting prizes up for grabs to motivate fellow colleagues.
Now, an initiative that UPCT took, and was actually one of the prizes of the scavenger hunt, was going and motivating people to go on to tours and taxi-rays, and getting them out of the offices and into homes and back onto campus, was the lucky draw for a midweek breakaway to Mabalingwe Nature Reserve. This did comply with social prescribing and COVID-19 regulations, and it gave families and friends, or the lucky winner, the opportunity to have a touristic experience and to break away from the constraints of daily life. It's to connect with nature and all of its beauty, and to reconnect and enjoy activities and time with your family or your friends. So this would be the perfect opportunity to get back onto the field and have people go on to tours.
So that brings us to our concluding remarks. UPCT 2021, as you can see, truly believes that mental health and well-being of people across the globe, particularly after the impacts of the COVID-19 pandemic, can be a new focal point for the tourism industry. In a microcosmic form, the UPCT was able to use the various tours it offers as a form of social prescribing to impact the well-being of its staff, students, as well as members of the broader public. While the tourism industry has seriously suffered as a result of the pandemic, it is also argued that the concerted effort to promote well-being through social prescribing with tourism as an option is a great potential in the current and post-COVID environment. We at UPCT believe that we've made a difference with our social prescribing initiative, as well as our tours on the University of Pretoria campus. We hope that this will serve as an inspiration to others and in the tourism sector.
Thanks so much, Kate. There's a few questions that came in from YouTube, and then a few from the department side as well. I think you all can hear me. Other than the excellent and positive feedback, people are really impressed with how you really made work of a very challenging situation. However, the first question is, would you recommend this postgraduate course to others despite the current state of tourism globally?
I can truly say that everyone here and part of the team would highly, highly recommend this, this module and doing the postgraduate honors degree. We have truly worked ourselves to the bone and we've loved every second of it. So I would highly, highly recommend it. We've been exposed to so many different things, and we can do a great thank you to our Professor Karen Harris, as she has given us all of the opportunities that will put us in amazing great state for next year and for our futures. Tourism will never die.
Could not agree more. Question number 2. How did this specific postgraduate cohort keep in tune with one another in terms of mental health, given that you were kind of isolated from one another, given the South African COVID context?
So I think the best thing has been that we've all been able to conduct tours with other people. We've had to be in constant communication with each other, whether it be in-person meetings on a Zoom platform. So we have been able to social prescribe with each other. And with our bubble tours, we've also been able to social prescribe with visitors. We've been able to get out and about because we've also had to walk the routes. We've had to create the tours. So it's been a great way for us to get out and meet new people and connect as a team.
Great stuff. Yeah, could not agree more. The next question, very complimentary. While pioneering work, the question asks, how did you manage to make this specific virtual space profitable, given the very struggling local and global tourism domain?
So it has been obviously very difficult, as we said earlier, with a lot of people losing their jobs, but we did offer discounted prices for those who took virtual tours. We also, when we took large schools, you don't pay per person. We organized so that you only pay for the guide who comes there. So it has been difficult, obviously, with certain people, but we have been very open to listening to certain people's financial statuses and making provisions for that.
Yes, that's an excellent idea, basically ensuring that tourism continues despite the difficult situation we all find ourselves in. Then question number 4 again relates to this virtual space. And the question is, will UPCT continue with these virtual engagements post-COVID-19?
Absolutely. And as we did mention, we have followed through with the 2021 group and what they implemented, the UPVCT. So we took that in our stride and we really did take that on. And we did offer a few virtual tours this year, but luckily with the lockdowns lifted, we did manage to do some in person. But with that foundation, we will of course be following through, because now people who are in Durban or in Cape Town or anywhere in the country or the world, they want to see our campus. We can then take them through on a virtual platform, which is all there for us, and we can always be developing and adding to that.
Excellent. Yes, I think this again relates to this specific year's UPCT group's ability to adapt by offering not only in-person tours, but also obviously the virtual tours. So kind of best of both worlds. Then the next question is bubble tours, or it's rather a comment, bubble tours, pioneering work. Would you say bubble tours are the way forward as we embrace the pandemic more in a tourism space?
Bubble tours have been a really great and safe way for everybody to get out, specifically if it's in families. So you know that you've kept your family members safe, thus you're keeping us safe. I think it's also a great way to create a more personalized tour. So each individual in the tour can feel as if they're getting special attention. Their questions can be answered. Often in larger groups of tours, people can be overlooked. You can also read the group a lot better to see what they're more interested in, what they're not that interested in, and you can actually personalize the tour more to their liking because it's what they've booked for.
That's a very interesting point you made. Yeah, I think it's really important that you do make these personal connections despite these virtual environments, seeing as I think that's what makes UPCT quite unique, that it actually cares for an array of things on behalf of the tourist. The next question is pertains to group work. The individual asks, how did you all stay interconnected with one another despite the various lockdown levels in South Africa?
So we did try to stay connected with each other through social media, such as our WhatsApp group, media marketing, and even just going out onto campus, connecting with each other, having meetings, and just going on through with the course itself. And as well Zoom, because that's an essential part of UPCT.
Yes, the Zoom component can't be overlooked. Yeah, I do think it's important to note that, yes, group work was very much the key to the success of this year's UPCT group. And I do think this collaborative effort amongst students always delivers in the end. The next question is perhaps a broad question, and it relates to the notion of mental health. And the individual asks, how would you advise other students, I'm assuming prospective honor students, on how to cope with the stressors and the mental health challenges you had to deal with in light of the rising levels of stress and anxiety around the world? So basically, how did you cope with your immediate environment?
All right, thank you for the question, CR. So the best way, as was mentioned in our presentation, is through social prescribing. Now, so social prescribing through its use of, being outdoors. If you follow, for example, what Glam is, visiting a garden or a gallery or a library for that form of, tranquility, or archives or museums. That is a form that one, including myself, has used in order to combat depression. A lot of people, especially through the use of exercise, through walking, maybe even gardening, endorphins are released using that, being outdoors. So that is one way, along with many other ways, to combat depression, especially the depression caused by isolation and being, by yourself, especially with one of the mechanisms as well that we mentioned in terms of social connections. Through the use of Glam and social prescribing, social connections can be used to help those as well who are socially marginalized or who feel as if they're socially marginalized, to feel as part of a community and to feel as if they're helping others who are socially marginalized. So in turn, all of us, or through the use of Glam, we are combating the depression caused by the COVID-19 pandemic.
Yeah, excellent, Kuni. So that's a nice link, basically saying that UPCT equals a positive mental state, that you are able to help people given your personal touches on tour. And it's quite a nice segue to the next question that asks, this Glam initiative, was it a collaboration or did it come solely from UPCT this year?
It was a collaboration. The archives gave us a lot of the information as well as the museums, because the museums curated obviously the sculpture walk and the sculptures in the museums with the Mapungubwe. They gave us a lot of the information, and we went on actual tours to learn the information ourselves. Then our garden curator, Jason Sampson, took us on quite a few tours with the aloes. He helped us compile all of that information. Same with the Mani Fandiske. So we actively did the tours with the curators for both the museums, the gardens. So it was a collaboration.
Excellent. Yeah, collaboration, I think, given the COVID-19 pandemic, is key. The next question is, it's actually a few people asked this. Can I, the individual, can I as a foreigner still partake in these campus tours, although not being a registered or prospective student at UP?
Absolutely. You do not have to be a registered student at the university to take any of the tours. It's open to the public, and we open with big arms. We would like anybody to, and we would also, especially if you're not in the country, we will definitely be offering that virtual aspect to it. So we'll do virtual tours, and we have done before for foreigners. People who've already come to the campus as well. So that's also just an amazing aspect, that you'll be traveling and you just want to pop past and see the campus, and that's awesome. So our online guests as well as our international guests, we have been offering that to them. So it's not only to the prospective students or staff.
Thank you very much for that. And then the last question is, I think people are really impressed by the presentation and your ability to adapt this specific model to a COVID-19 environment. However, the last question is, where can we follow you and your amazing journey on social media?
We have both Instagram as well as Facebook. So our Instagram handle is UP Campus Tours. You will see with our logo that was throughout the whole presentation. You'll follow us, you'll see our profile picture there, as well as Facebook. It is the same, UP Campus Tours, and you'll see all of our wonderful faces that you've seen on this presentation as the cover photos on there.
Thanks so much, Kate. I think that wraps it up for the Q&A session. I'll pass it back to you to conclude then.
Thank you so much. I would like to extend my thanks to the UPCT team and to everyone attending our webinar, as well as a huge thank you to the Atlas for hosting us on this platform, as well as a specific thank you to Professor Tara Duncan. We did miss her, but we truly appreciate it. Thank you.